why do program managers need to understand local cultures, values, politics, and involved in multinational strategic programs?
Yeah, well, I guess working at Hitachi Vantara does give me the advantage of working with global teams. And certainly in the world that we live today, there are definitely opportunities to have to address that type of question. Why, as a program manager, I particularly feel like I need to be aware of where various team members come from, what may be influencing how they react or do their work or produce what I need them to produce, is key, especially because you want to avoid unnecessary conflict between team members. You want to make sure that just because somebody comes from a certain country, that people don't come with a bias about it. You know, a lot of times we have, like I deal with American people, and in America it's go, 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 and you know, we'll kill ourselves, we're going to deliver on time, we're going to deliver, you know, everything is going to be perfect, and even when it's chaotic, everything's still going to be perfect. Whereas when I'm dealing with Europe, you know, depending on the country, you can only make so many demands of your resources, and even how they speak, you know, on calls, you want to make sure that you pick a language that everybody speaks, which, you know, for most part is English, but I have been on calls where people speak a different language that I happen to speak, so, you know, it facilitates the discussion that way. But, you know, just the accents, intonation, you know, and you have to make sure that somebody who's not as perhaps culturally aware, you know, isn't used to dealing with people from foreign countries, doesn't get offended just because they hear a very dry tone, or, you know, that they don't misinterpret somebody's political joke the wrong way, just because that person, you know, doesn't live in a country that's threatened by war or you know, like they just don't have that background. So I find that it is key, you know, just to kind of make sure that my team can work together faster. And we appreciate the fact that although we're all different, you know, we're all there to deliver the same goal. Sometimes I use different forms of documentation or different methods of documentation. Sometimes I might be very visual, just so I have a very varied audience, and not everybody's, you know, English may be a third or fourth language for many people. I find that a visual diagram and saying, okay, well, this is what I understand. And sometimes I'll throw myself like under the bus first in terms of, I'm not the technical expert. You're the people delivering this. I'm just there to shepherd you along the way and help you with what you need, which is kind of like a program manager is very much a servant leader in that respect. And so I may do something very visual, and then everybody starts putting their hand up, you know, because it's always hard to put the first sentence down on paper, but everybody's willing to edit, you know. So that I find helps a lot as well. You know what, we've lived through very interesting times, you know, the previous presidency in the US, which led to a lot of conversations, and then currently what's happening, you know, between Ukraine and Russia, the concerns around China. I think for the most part, and I don't know whether it's, you know, the luck of the corporation that I happen to work for, but if I think about the hiring policies of most corporations, they do look for a type that fits their company. So it's very seldom that we will run into truly difficult political situations. Not to say that there isn't the odd time somebody does pull a bonehead move and make a really inappropriate comment, but then that's kind of rare. I mean, typically in politics, everybody just mostly wants to joke about it and talk about what they saw on Colbert, because they even look at Colbert on in Europe, or they'll talk about Jimmy Fallon or whatever. Yeah, so I mean, I've been fortunate that in this particular role in Hitachi Vantara, I guess enough people watch enough Netflix and Hulu that it's okay. In previous roles, politics never really came into play in terms of the grand scheme of things. It was always more internal politics. But you know, the rule of thumb is keep your head down, right? You know, until you're willing to become a political animal in your own company, it's not really worth throwing yourself out there. I think as a program manager though too, if it comes to like some type of politics, personal politics, whatever, we as facilitators for the team, we can't treat everything like political correctness. You know, once again, you could go to the other side of the spectrum with political correctness, and then people just don't open up. So you have to make sure that, especially with global teams, that people are comfortable to express themselves. You know, it's not like everybody's in a room and you can literally physically see the person and kind of tap them, but you have to be prepared to call people out, get them to participate, or make them comfortable enough that they feel they can participate in a group or you know, with you.